Hey everybody, Max Monster here. This is going to be a video game less video because we're just going to be talking about the 2.42 patch changes. A couple of people asking for a more in-depth review. So, kids asleep, wife's asleep, time available. Um, Definitely go over it now. First and foremost, you got Infinite Retcons. You'll probably have them until next Thursday or Friday when I believe Invisible Woman's going to be coming out. I imagine that's when her release is. It says until next patch. Seeing how she's on test, I'm going to suspect that's out next week. So use them before you lose them. Then they got their design review, philosophy, and long-term goals. I think that's nice and all well-intended and everything, but you know, some people on this team know what they're doing and others have no freaking clue. And a great example is Black Widow. No clue. You got one skill that's worth a damn. Everything else sucks. I mean, who wants to spam 25 grenades to kill something when you can press one button and it dies in a couple seconds with another skill? It's just the way it works. Nobody wants to sit there and spam 25 grenades to blow up a white pack when you can hit a button and just zap it to death in a couple seconds. And that definitely plays to a certain someone's play style and favoritism. Not sure if that was a smart move on them or not, if that was intentional or not, but you know, I took a long time trying lots of different skills and got obliterated as Black Widow. And you may not like the fact that I'm mad, but I'm mad because I like Black Widow. I used to love Black Widow, and before I could play Black Widow, you know, like a machine. She was a boss. She freaking destroyed things, and now it's like zappy yellow streams. It's like a pissing contest. Sorry for my language. Anyways, and then you go on the extreme other hand, which is coming up, which is going to be Squirrel Girl, who's freaking awesome. What a great review that is. Whoever did that should get a raise, and whoever did Black Widow should get canned. I mean, that's what I would do. I would kick that person right off the team, fired immediately. You know, no check, no nothing, go home. That's exactly what I would do. And I would give the person who did Squirrel Girl a raise because, man, she is fun. She is potent. She feels powerful. You could probably do her melee, even though I'm going to be doing her ranged, just because I'm very weary because of the last few melee characters that you go with melee. You get obliterated. And even, you know, one of the other guys who's got a really powerful gambit says, you know, every now and then, boom, you're just dead. You can't do nothing about it. It's the way melee is in this game, and they're taking away melee survivability. It's just weird. So I think they really need to come up with a way to work around what happens with melee, and I think they really need to review how their melee regenerates health. And I think the biggest thing they could do to make that work better would probably take that basic life on basic power away and make it life on melee attack and take the internal cooldown off and make it so melees can really regenerate like Wolverine, or give them some kind of passives so you're working like Miss Marvel or Deadpool, because those are the ones that really work. Gambit, you know, they added that to his skill tree. Now he works very well at it. And I got people with a really good Nightcrawler saying, "Man, I'm trudging through it, but it's very slow and I can't really go." So that's the next part, anyways, was Squirrel Girl's design mini review, and they don't really talk too much onto it, but it's a really good review, and I really liked her. Then they go into Black Widows, and they go into it like they did some kind of massive overhaul to her. And I don't see a big change on her, and I thought it really sucked. Legendary items. I think they're getting a clue here, and that's very, very good. Gungnir staying the same. Everything else getting buffed to no end. I like that a lot. I think, actually, everything's beginning to really, really pass Gungnir in the long haul. And I like that a lot too. I like getting away from the whole let's go crit crazy and be crit monsters and crit. Don't need that. They did a rework with melee power taggings, making sure they're properly melee tagged. I would still question if it really happens, but you can test it with just a melee tagged artifact. Like Yukio's, pretty easy to get. Hybrid damage, increasing the fun. Um, so they're swapping some of the skills around, like on Deadpool and Hawkeye. So tear gas arrow is now physical and stuff, which is very nice. So they're not really that hybridish. But there are also some items that are getting thrown out there, like Green Goblin's medallion, which now does physical and energy damage rating. That was pretty nice too for everybody. Like Miss Marvel has got physical and energy all over the place. That might be her new go-to. Although I love Doctor Dooms, I do. I'm kind of stuck on that. I know. I get into my little rut. I love it. Let's see. Minor changes. Captain America's thrones only refer to objects picked up in the environment. And they reworded his shield throwing powers to have the keyword shield throw now. So that's nice. Other minor little things, that's not important. Attribute review. For the most part, in general, this is really good. Although they won't tell you that they removed the fighting and energy defense off of fighting and energy stats. You used to get a big chunk of damage reduction off of fighting and off of energy. It's not really worked into durability either. But you do get a good chunk on durability. You now just can't double up on it, and you're kind of cut in half now. So again, that's kind of weird that they take away the survivability issue there. Not sure why they didn't just buff up how much durability really gives, but that's what they do. So going over the stats, durability, every point's now 2%. Physical and energy damage, 2 health regen. I don't know why 2. Even if it's per second, that's still weak. That's not enough. They're really scared of this health regen, and I'm not sure why. I think it's a PvP thing, and that kind of aggravates me as well, because I'm a PvE player. I don't really care about the PvP. I've always been a PvE. I played it, for a good year before PvP was really even thought of. It was kind of like a afterthought. I wish they just made the PvP a whole separate game like they should have, like most games really do. So all in all, just durability alone, they do their little stat comparison. Now you do gain on just durability. So that's good. And then speed's going to give you some attack speed as well, movement speed and flight speed. It's kind of where they broke that out, but I guess they had to make it easier to code. It's giving you tenacity too with speed. Interesting place to put it, I guess. Some dodge rating with speed, damage to movement powers, and spirit cost reduction to movement powers. That's alright. I guess the biggest thing there is the attack speed. That's kind of cool. Intelligence. Here's a nerf. They're not even going to talk to you about the nerf. They don't mention the nerf. They don't even hint at the nerf. But you're really losing a ton of stuff on this here. They added mental defense here. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if they added... I don't see anything yet. So per point of intellect, you get 2% mental defense. So I wonder if there's an energy defense on the other one. I didn't see it before. Crit rating per intellect point. Who cares? So what? You got 5 intellect, you get 150 crit rating. Most people going for crit, that 150 isn't going to do much, but I'm imagining you're going to go for it. What you're probably going to like is the critical damage rating. That's probably going to be more for you. Attack speed with movement mental powers. However, this has now been changed and retuned. They say they're moving this over to speed. That's interesting. So this has been an upgrade in progress. That's where page 2 came from. Okay. They're changing things on the go here. 1% of XP per intellect rank. That's been changed from 5%. However, do note that the -5 for having only 1 rank has been removed. So I think it was like Hulk and one other guy was 1% or -5 to start. Still, it was pretty easy to get 3 points of intellect just from Molmin's metal and then the core. So that was 15%. Now it's 3%. So that's useless. Get rid of those things. It's absolute garbage. Nothing to even try for. And then +2 spirit per rank. That's ridiculous in itself. Interesting here. Bonus damage for summon allies. 4% per intellect rank. That's an interesting thing to go for you pet people. Because, 5 points of intellect would give you 20% extra damage for allies. That's not something to joke about. Strength. So obviously damage with physical attacks, damage with thrown attacks is up 4% per point. A chance to cut with or stun with melee, that's now removed. Okay, so that's something else they've gone and done. Spirit cost reduction to physical powers, -1% per point of strength. Yeah, that's a joke. That's nothing. Energy. Damage with energy, damage with mental, both up 4% per point. Spirit cost down for each one. So there is actually no damage reduction for energy attacks. That's very interesting because a lot of bosses are actually energy-based damage, so they actually thought that one out and said, nope, we're not going to give you a break. And then fighting. This is another place where you lose a lot of mitigation. Before, it used to be about 5% to 25% damage reduction, and then 1% for the final two. It could have been 3% and then 1% for the final two, 17%. I don't really remember the numbers, but I'm pretty sure that energy worked the same way. But now it's just damage with all powers up 3% per point in fighting rank, and then brutal strike rating is +60 per point in fighting rank, and then brutal strike damage 180 per fighting rank. Spirit cost, attack speed, those have been moved over again and removed. Oh, completely removed. No longer moved over, now it's removed. Fighting power damage, +25% base damage bonus. I don't know what that actually means. They don't go into it, what that actually says, because isn't that damage with all powers anyway? Items. A few item buffs as a side effect to the system. The Molmin medallion now gives a buff to experience gain and will retain intelligence. So that's going to bring the Molmin medallion back up. I guess check that before you do get rid of it. Seer's Brilliance rune word will now get a buff to experience gain. I looked at that. I didn't see a buff to it. It still said 100 XP, but maybe I missed it. Several uniques have been changed. Now they just reduced cost to all powers. So things that used to reduce fighting power costs now reduce cost to all powers. For instance, Black Widow's drop leg holster is just reduced spirit cost to all powers. And then things that increase damage rating will increase damage rating for all powers instead of just fighting stuff. So that's interesting. They covered those. And going into this, we're going into the medallion changes. These are actually pretty good because the medallion's really starting to suck comparatively. You really only had a couple of choices. In here, they're mentioning that Green Goblin has added physical damage rating and energy damage rating. And it's no small amount. 60 is about 500 of each. So that's kind of cool. Black Cat added damage to unaware targets. Blob, small chance to block attacks. Electro added dot damage rating. Grim Reaper fixed a bug property where the physical damage rating wasn't being displayed properly. Up the brutal strike rating and damage rating. Hood added mental damage rating and physical damage rating. That's interesting. I wonder why both. Who does both mental and physical? I'm trying to think. Hulk added stacking physical damage rating proc. Added health roll. Yeah, a lot of these got health on it. That's nice. Juggernaut greatly increased the health and defense rolls. Added tenacity and +1 durability. Oh, that's pretty good. That'll give it a really good tanky type style. That might go to Miss Marvel now. Curse, slightly up the damage. Lady Deathstrike added health to it. Living Laser increased the amount of spirit on this item. That might be an interesting thing now for you, Iron Man. Megan Sentinel added range damage rating. Mr. Sinister, oh yeah, they definitely increased the summoned ally damage on that. Yeah, that's all over the place. Oh, Moleman added 5 to 10% experience roll, kept intelligence. So yeah, you just lost anywhere from 10 to 15% XP basically. That's the nerf. Sabertooth added a bleed proc to this item. Added damage rating versus bleeding targets. Huh, I'll have to look at that one. Sauron added mental damage rating and added energy damage rating. Oh, Jean Grey. Shocker added damage rating. Added physical damage rating. Added damage rating versus knockdown targets. Oh, Shockers might be pretty good now too. Artifacts. There are new artifacts. Advanced Aim Robot Dispenser. Advanced Wicked Wand of Watum, which is pretty nice because it has mental damage. I found a few of those. Advanced Amulet of Agamotto. And then they upped the damage ratings on everything, like Advanced Atlantean Jewel, Final Flames of the Fault Line, Hammer Ordnance. It now does pretty good, but I still think you get more damage out of damage rating. Hellfang of Zerathos, Kree Hyper Optics, Phoenix Feathers, those are actually pretty cool. Reactive Repulsors, if you got energy-based guy, Phoenix Feather, Advanced Phoenix Feathers are really nice. Beta Ray Projectors, Netherrealm Jewels, Starstone Tooths, they up the health on that. Not a lot, it's not enough to really go in there. 20% proc for 760 life. That's kind of alright, but that's really basically 120 health a second. It's if they up the health on the proc, that'd be nice. Nutso the Squirrel. Who cares? Black Tom Shillelagh, never had it, so I don't know what that does. And the White Suit Jacket, they upped some of that stuff on that. Hulkbuster munitions, Mask of Doom, all these things. Tons of increases. Raptor Stones, oh yeah, they actually roll pretty nice, those Raptor Stones. I got a 23% one. Pretty nice. Pim Shrinking, nerfed. I did remember them having this up there originally, though, so this nerf was called out. They say they greatly overbuffed it in a previous patch by mistake. That's not true. They just didn't time it right. But now it's got an internal cooldown of 2.5 seconds for Pims. Yeah, throw it away. Go with River of the Soul and throw something else on. That's going to be almost useless by the time it gets there. River of Soul make up too much. And again, 2.5 seconds. If you only have 30% dodge, 25% dodge, you'll probably dodge the same amount of time as that internal cooldown. So maybe not throw it away, but I don't know. It was really never that great to begin with. Although it was pretty cool on Gambit because he was about the only one I really used it on. And Spider-Man. But I never really burned out of Spirit on Spider-Man, so it was never really a big issue. Then again, I don't really have a problem with Gambit either. So it's not really that big of an issue either. River of the Soul is much better. Unique weapons can now roll up to 883 basic damage rating. They're buffing all the damage. They call it a significant buff. I would call it a buff. I don't know if it's significant. It's about 5% damage increase. That's not really significant. As a head start, grandfathering for current hero, all existing unique weapons were given a roll under the new system, and as a result, most players' uniques received a buff to the basic damage or defense. All unique armor can now roll higher basic defense. Existing uniques will benefit from this and receive the buff. Very old problematic uniques. Hulkbuster arrows proc cooldown from 2 seconds, now 4 seconds. So those were it. So this is where the patch ended. Now there's a page 2 mysteriously on there, because you can see the total buffs and total nerfs tags here. So they added on what they did with costume cores. And here's where the big problem came in. So one nice thing is they quadrupled the drop rate of all the costume cores. This is very nice because they've added so many affixes to those costume cores. They're going to have a heck of a time finding a good one. So now costume cores will always roll at least one additional affix besides rare item find, special item find, or now credit find affix. So that's actually a nice little thing to do. I like that part. Thank you. However, life leech cores were all changed to life on hit, and they all suck. Absolutely, positively suck. So when you get one that says life on hit, that's the old life hit, life steal cores. Maximum of 400 per second, so they have an internal cooldown of 1 hit per second. It's terrible, 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 terrible. Completely get rid of those if you're using them. Even though the next core, which is the next best thing, is nerfed as well, it's still better than 400 life a second. So now the 25% hit point and 25% spirit regen cores, those are now nerfed as well, as we've already mentioned. So now you get basically 3,000 health and 100 spirit flat. That's it. Or 25% health or spirit, whatever is less. So those changes really, really suck. They're really, really, really wiping the floor with ways of getting hit points back. So while before you could completely ignore and call me an idiot for saying you needed hit point regen, now you absolutely positively gotta make hit point regen a thought. I mean, you gotta have it. And Miss Marvel is comfortable somewhere between 40 and 60,000 hit point regen, and the only one else that's going to really come close is Deadpool. So you're not going to hit those numbers. However, I have seen hit point regeneration items dropping a little bit better now at level 60. They can hit 5 to 6K on slot 2 and 3, so that should be 12,000. And that will help significantly. So if you can get about 12 to 15,000 life gen plus a 25%, well, a 3,000 health core, that's going to help dramatically. Also, stacking tons of hit points. Now it's going to be forever to get them back. You have to have a bigger pool to lose. It sounds like you'd be better off having 12,000 hit points because that's, where they're saying they want you to be. That's not actually the case. Now you need more than ever because you're going to be losing and it's going to be longer to regain them, so you need a bigger pool to regen them if you're even thinking about being point blank range with anything significant, like say cosmic bosses. So if you want a tank, if you're Miss Marvel and you want to be a tank, if you're Deadpool and you want to be melee pool, if you're Gambit and you want to be, melee Gambit and you don't have a tanking for you that can taunt, and taunt works, you're going to really want to consider either A, getting a lot of regen, even though you have that regen on your Excalibur and you have that regen on your I forget Gambit's ability there, but you have regen based on one of your abilities there. That ability is semi-reliable, but it's not fully reliable. Excalibur is completely reliable. It's a very nice reliability. However, something tells me that's going to get ICD'd pretty soon, and you're going to need a larger base of hit points so you can have a longer base of sustainability. So if you take a big hit, you can have longer time to recuperate the hit points because you're going to need it. Now, another thing supporting this theory is they still haven't changed the med kit yet, so it's still 100 hit points plus 6% for 5 seconds. So every second you get 6% of your maximum hit points. So the more hit points you have, the more life you regenerate through the med kit. You can do that once every 10 seconds. So it does behoove you to have a bigger life pool. Now, more than ever. It just sucks you're not getting that 25% anymore. And at least they're dropping tons of cores, so you should be able to get a 25% or a 3,000 life 100 spirit returned core. And ideally a 2-second invulnerability. However, a lot of people are going to be tempted to go with damage rating. There's a lot of damage rating cores out there now. There is health regen cores. That's another thing you can go with. You can pick up another 4K on those. I've seen it. And there's life on hit. But again, once per second, it's just not worth it. Once per second is not. It's hard to weigh in. It just doesn't carry the same weight, even though it's only like 4,000 or 5,000 health per minute. Which, you know, even if it was 6,000, say it was 6,000 health per minute, and you can say that's 100 health per second, just like 100 life on hit would be. It just doesn't work the same way. It's always constant and ticking. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hit. You can move and dodge and run around and still recoup. Where life on hit, you have to keep the hits going. So it's good for some and bad for others. So there's give and take you got to consider. You can buy cores, by the way, with Easter eggs or something like that from Beast. I sell my eggs. I don't even pay attention to those. I just want the money. Relics. Relics have been retuned. They all have higher damage and everything. And I'm pretty sure they're trying to make Lemuria look not as good as all the other relics. Now, more than ever, Lemuria. So, it's more important. They're trying to make us, as usual, we spent our time trying to buff anything we could rather than nerf the most popular relics. None of the popular relics, including Lemuria, broke the game, so it was feasible to buff existing relics higher. So it's good they don't see that Lemuria was a problem, because, God, it's needed more than ever now. You need it. You gotta have it, you know. Other changes. The retcons, one-side play. Gear slot 1 through 5 basic stats now have variants and can roll up to 1.4 times the standard damage and defense. They fixed some bugs, did some UI tweaks, obviously, to account for the attributes. I'm not going to go through all the bugs and everything. I don't see anything that's really great here. Fixed crashes, cooldowns now properly toggle. Yeah, nothing really mind-blowing on the things there. When logging into the game, some boosts may tick down in the initial hub. By region changing to any region a single time, they will cease ticking down. I've lost a ton of buffs from this issue. I would not use buffs. I'm kind of mad. I want my my buffs back, to be honest with you. But if they're going to keep giving me free buffs all weekend, then I won't really complain about it with those boons. But I definitely lost a few good buffs because they just ticked and ticked and ticked. I'm a little bit upset about that. Complete power pass. This is where they've gone through and supposedly upped the powers of some things. I haven't had time, obviously, to go through 30 characters to test to see if they've actually done it. So I'm going to assume they actually did. I think it's pretty much a scale that they just have to slide up and down, unless someone was really smoking some good stuff or, you know, really falling asleep at the wheel and turned the knob down the wrong way. I doubt it. You know, they probably did do a full tuning pass and upped everything. They're upping ultimates, so they're more ultimate. I like that idea. They should probably. Most of them are pretty good. I mean, that's one thing I can say about Black Widow. Her ultimate was freaking phenomenal. But you know, you don't want to wait every 10 minutes to do something. Powers deep dives. I'm not going into all this. This is where they increased all the damage to everything. And there's a lot of damage increases according to them. However, there's not a lot of flat damage increases, so it does make me suspect maybe some things that didn't get changed right. Who knows? For the most part, I would bet that you will see. Well, there's the problem right there. Black Widow. They did not increase any of her power abilities because they reworked her. I'm willing to bet they're going to come out and say they made a mistake and they didn't tune the powers properly when they reworked her. Maybe that's what's going on with all their powers. Because everybody else is up anywhere from a bare minimal of 30%, and that's only on a couple of characters, an average of 50%, and a high of 100% extra damage. So that's pretty insane. Like Cable up 72 average damage. That's what they're saying they increased him by. Daredevil up 75% average damage. I don't know what they mean by average damage, but that's what they're saying they increased his powers by. Maybe it's small ones. Hulk 104% damage increase. So those are people to check out. 104 damage increase. What do they do with Iron Man, I wonder? 44% damage increase. He was already pretty potent. Storm, 36%. Yeah, she was tuned pretty good. Miss Marvel, where's her? 34%. Yeah, she was pretty potent. Yeah. Well, okay. For those interested in more details, here are 4 worst offenders of powers double dipping. Powers that were significantly out of tune because of double dipping, double internal power modifiers, or a very significantly bugged or missing tuning tag. Freezing Tempest. So that's probably lost damage. Phoenix Inferno. That's probably lost damage. Damage from the T-Rex Illusion and Ultimate Nightmare. Lost damage. Shield Strike. Lost damage. Any other power damage reductions were 20% or less changed. So, if you were using Freeze's Tempest because you thought that was phenomenal damage, I don't think it's going to be phenomenal anymore. Uh-oh. Phoenix Inferno. Isn't that Jean Grey's main Phoenix attack? That doesn't sound good. So let's see. Maximum Spider up 430% damage. Wow. Body Slider Bomb up 410% damage. That's nice. Meteor Strike. I forget whose Meteor Strike. Is that Hulk? Plus 379% damage. Ball Lightning. Oh, that's Storm. Up 249%. Interesting. You guys might want to check out this. There's a ton of damages, the powers. See if any of your main characters were affected that way. To try out some of the new abilities, or some of these abilities that are increased. And let's see. I was correct. Invisible Women. This is in development. Invisible Women should be ready for release by the middle of next week, which means they'll probably release around Thursday. Hopefully Thursday, not Friday. Fine tuning is still underway for many hero powers. Mac alpha testing. We're finishing up matchmaking algorithm for PvP. I don't care about PvP. I'm mad at PvP for messing up my game. We're in alpha testing stage for raid zones. They look beautiful, intimidating. They should launch alongside our completely 100% free game expansion in June. That sounds hot. Now that makes me happy, because originally they were saying they're going to launch that in winter, and that made me sad. A raid, even if it's kind of well, non-swear worded, done, is better than no raid at all. So that is really, 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 really good of them. Because that's one thing the game lacks, is really something to do once you're there. I mean, I got 14 characters ready to go, full raid spec. I mean, I got nothing else to get for these guys. And then I got like another 5 or 6 that need only a couple things. They're still ready to go for raids. That's just insane to have half the amount of characters in the game ready to go hardcore raiding. So that's really nice. June isn't that far away, and they've doubled that time. I really hope they're just not really killing it, and speeding it up too fast. But I really think it's smart that they increase that speed. So Psylocke's getting work done. And that's it. So that sounds like some good stuff coming. That makes me feel better. So, like I said, there was a lot more buff than nerf. I know I only point out the nerfs because they don't point out the nerfs. The second page came in afterwards. They threw it out there, which is good. They should admit to what they do, and I'm happy that they did. And maybe it was there a little bit after I saw it. Who knows? But this would be the full detail of patch 2.42. God, it was huge. A lot coming out in the future. I can't wait for those raids. That's a mandatory thing to have happening. Really good. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the upcoming 8-pack of team-ups. Still not happy with the way team-ups are. I don't think they're worth the money, which is the problem. I don't see spending $40 on another 8 of them. So I should be able to test center them or something and get them out to you so you can at least see them. Maybe if you haven't bought team-ups yet, there might be some better ones in this one upcoming, which will make me sad face because I already spent my money. But we'll see what's going on with that. And I got Squirrel Girl coming up, which is really nice. Like I said, she was phenomenally done. So you know, not all is bad in the Marvel world. But like I told someone before, if you want to leave the channel, that's fine. I don't sugarcoat. I'm not pulling punches. If they do something stupid, I'm going to call them out for it. It's stupid. I'm not going to sit there and kiss their butts for being gazillion and they make a game. Who cares? I like Diablo 3. They do a lot of stuff wrong too. That's the way it is. If no one tells them you're doing something wrong and they need to change it, they won't change it. They won't make it better. It won't get better. That's how things get better. People tell them to make it better. If people tell them everything's great, they won't do anything with it. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it helps. And I'll talk to everybody later.